Welcome back to the React Game Challenge. In this challenge, we are designing a game, learning and writing code for React.js components, making the app responsive for desktop and mobile users, learning and writing code for React states and props, and deploying the web game app online. In the last part, we have written the code for HTML and JSX. Today, we will convert this ugly looking HTML code to a beautiful React application by writing the CSS files. If you have come directly to this video, I will highly recommend that you go and check the first two parts of this challenge so that you can understand what we are doing and what design we are following now. And if you have seen both these parts, let's resume this challenge. My name is Aditya Shenoy from Brainy, where I make programming simple and fun. Oh no, the game has started lagging. This is because 86% of people who watch my videos are not subscribed to this channel. And if you want me to continue this React challenge without any lag, then please go down and click the subscribe button and the like button. And both this button clicking is completely free and you can always change your mind in future. The next quest is we have to write CSS. Obviously, this is very beautiful and we want to make it more beautiful. So we want to style these elements now. So as we are done with our JS files, we do not need to touch that. Let's go to app.css. I will just keep the JavaScript file that we are styling for reference. So the first element that we want to style is the app class, which is the entire box, the green box that you can see over here. So the first style that I have mentioned just now, that is the background color. So let's go to the app.css and there are some pre-written code from React.js. We do not want that. And this is the benefit of using a BEM convention. You do not need to know anything else apart from how to select a class from an HTML. So you just need to import, put a dot and then the class name, and then you can just write this style. And I always get confused with the selector, like this is a app dot hands, or this is sibling, or this is a children. You do not need to remember any of this because there is just one class name and BEM convention makes it very easy. So this app will contain a background color. What background color? Now, now our design will help us a lot. So we do not need to do trial and error in the styling because we already have that. So we can just go to style and copy the hexadecimal code over here. And boom, we are done. And as you can see, the entire app component is taking only the space that it requires for to fit in all the elements. We definitely don't want that. We want the application component to take the entire height, and for that we can change this component's height to 100 viewport height, and this viewport height will be will be helpful for all screens. So we do not need to put exact pixel values because that will not be the same for all users. That will change for desktop as well as the mobile users. But if we put just 100 viewport height, it will take the entire space, the entire screen space that is available. So this is done, and as you can see, the hotfix is working and it is getting refreshed automatically. Now we want to style the orientation of the elements, that is the header element, there the score element, the hand element, and the button element. So now it is taking very less space and a lot of space is remaining, so we can use flexbox property so that these elements take equal spaces, like this space will be distributed evenly around them. So for that, the root element, that is the dot app, should have the display property as flex. And Now it is displaying all the elements in this fashion, that is the row fashion, but we want that to be vertical. So we want flex direction property to be column. And yes, so this is done. This has not changed anything, but now as we have included the flex property, we can use justify content space around. What this will do is it will just space everything. It will distribute the space around all the components. Now as you can see over here, there is a lot of space in between this. So what we can do over here, we can add an empty dummy div element so that the space between these elements get reduced as it includes another element. So what I mean by that is, over here after the app buttons, there is no element required, but we can put an empty div like this. Let's put a comment that this will be an empty division block. And as you can see, the empty division element is over here, and due to addition of that fifth element, the space between that, the share of the space has reduced, and that makes the app a little bit more the elements are coming together, and that will reduce the unnecessary amount of big space between these elements. And as you can see over here, the font is serif font. That the serif font means, as you can see over here in the foot of R, you can see an extra line, and some people may like this. For some reason, I was zoomed in inside a React app, so this is exactly what our React app looks like now. So this serif font does not look uh, good over here, so we can convert that to sans serif. Sans serif means we do not want this extra things that are present in the end of some letters, like this T is different, one is different, S has two extra lines in the end, so that is serif. And sans means no, so we do not want that serif. So in the app.css, in the entire application, we want font family to be sans serif, and this has changed our font. These are all the styling that we want to do inside for all the application. Now we can be more specific to our elements inside the application component. So let's first style our header element. So again, you do not need to do this dot header, or is it greater than or space, I don't know. I do not need to remember this because we are using mem convention dot app double underscore header will give us the element that we want. First of all, we want this text to be at the center, so that is an easy fix. Text align center. This has moved us to center. Now, this font size is very small, but that font size should not be static. This should change based on the display size. So once the display size gets bigger, the font of this title should also get bigger. So we want to use viewport height as we have used over here. But what viewport height? So for that, you can again refer to the design that we have created. So over here, if we see the font, it is 72 pixels and our total height is 720. So that means out of 100%, 72 out of 720 is 10%. So we can put that information as the font size. So font size should be 10%. You can put percentage or viewport height. I prefer viewport height because viewport height is related to the screen and percentage is related to the its parent element. So this, if we put percent over here, that will get sized as per this element and not the screen. So this font size is 10 viewport height, and as you can see, the title should be bigger. So this looks good. We can change this if we are not comfortable, but for now this looks good as per our design. But this is boldface and this is not, so we can add font weight as bold, and that has changed to what we want. So this is the entire styling that we will do for the header. This score component will get styled inside the score.css and not apps or app.css. So we do not need to style it now. Let's see what other things we can style now. The app hands. We are not styling the hand component. We are styling the division, the div element that contains both the hands. So currently the hands are getting displayed like this, but we want the hands to be centered with equal space around. So we will use the same property as over here. Again, to select that, we are using mem convention dot app double underscore hands, and we will put display as flex. This will not change anything, but if we put justify content as space around and save this, yes, the image is small, but as you can see, the spacing around it is even now. And once we increase the size of the image, this image will look good. The same thing we can do for buttons as well. So dot app buttons display flex, justify content as space around. Let's see what that has done. So these are the buttons. It is still small, just like the image. So once we style this actual app button component, this will look good. But for now, the app component style is complete. So app.css is complete. So we can close this and move on to score.js. Let's open the score.css file that we have created. And inside this score, there are two class names that we can style. One is the entire block that is representing the score component, and the score reset. As we have discussed over here, the score reset text should be underlined, and that is the only style that is required over there. So first, let's style the score component, the score class. And again, this score, the text is displayed at the extreme left. So we want that to be centered aligned. So I will do this, and it is over here now. Now the font size. Again, we can use the same trick as we have done for the header. We can see what is the font size of this. So this is 36 by 720. So if we do 36 by 720, it is 5%. If we do into 100, that is 5%. So we can put font size as 5 viewport height, and that will size the score properly. Now you might notice that there is a lot of space between this, but don't worry, once we increase the size of the image, this space available will get reduced, and so the space around will also reduce. So this will look good when once we style all the elements together. And for score reset, this might look very simple, but it is not. First, the straightforward thing, the text decoration should be underlined like this. But I will go to the developer tools and select this element. Now you can see the problem of this this division, this div element. So over here, I don't want this entire thing to be clickable. I just want this reset button, the text that is displayed, that only should be clickable. Now, if I leave this code as it is now, the user can click over here and still the score will get reset. We don't want that. We want the clicking region to be just the space that is taken by the reset text. So for that, we can shrink the width so that it takes just the maximum content. As you can see, it has shifted there. So if I go to the developer tools again, now it is taking only the space, the blue region that is getting displayed. That is the entire div that we are talking about. So that is getting fixed, but that is gone to the left side. Even though it is centered aligned, the entire element is not centered aligned. The text inside that is text aligned. So this is still applicable because it is inside that, but the entire div element is not at the center. So we can fix that very easily by using margin auto, so that the margin gets distributed in both the sides. As you can see, the yellow thing is the margin. So margin gets distributed automatically if we do this. And let's go out of this. And as you can see, this should be a button or a clickable thing. But once you hover a mouse, it shows a cursor so that you can select this text. But this should be a button, right? So for button, the ideal cursor display should be a hand, that is a pointer. So we can change that to by using cursor pointer. And as you can see, this this div element is only over here. So if I move my cursor over here, the cursor gets changed to a hand that is pointing to reset. So that will indicate that this is clickable. So this is the entire styling of the score component. Now we can go to hand.js. And hand.css. In the hand component, we have just one element, that is image. So the styling is very straightforward. Dot hand, and inside this, the image size, again we can take the help of the design. Its size is 280, as you can see over here, 280 cross 280. The image is already square, so if we just change the height, the browser will maintain its aspect ratio and it will shrink the width as well. So we just need to change the height. So 280 with respect to 720, and that is 38, but we will round that to 40. So we want this to have a height of 40 viewport height, and boom. So this one thing has changed the font size, and this looks decent because this is the main thing that should be displayed, so this should be big. And now the only thing remaining for styling is the buttons. So let's open up the app-button.js and then app-button.css. Inside this, we just have one element to style, that is app button class. So we will do that app button like this. Now there are multiple things that we want to style in this. First is the height of the button. So again, for height, we can use this reference. So this is 100 height uh, as per 720. So this is 13 and 13.8%, that is 14. So let's try 14% height. 14%, I mean 14 viewport height. So this is looking a little weird, but let's change the width as well. So its width is 330 and the entire width is 1280. 330, 1280. That is 25% almost. So we will put width as 25. We put width, not we put height, because we have compared that to the width. But this button, okay, the text is small, but still the button is very huge. So we can shrink that. We do not need to follow exactly as per our design, but that gives an estimate like how much we want, how much big or small the button we want. So we can tweak this a little bit. So let's try 10 and 20 to reduce it a small amount. And this looks reasonable because the button should not be the prime focus. The prime focus should be on the title and the buttons, the hands. So now this button is looking good, but just the text we want to style now. Now for the font, it is 48 by 720, so it is 6.6%. So let's take 7%, 7 viewport height, 7 viewport height, and okay, now we want to make it rounded. As you can see over here in the button, as you can see in the design, the button contains a border. So we want to include that border. We will just put 1 pixel solid black to keep things simple. And also we want border radius, as it is a rounded rectangle. Let's put 10 pixel, any small value. We do not need to worry about the viewport height and viewport width for such a small thing. And yeah, this looks decent. Although we have added an empty div element over here, still the spacing around this button is very low, and the button is sticking to the bottom, and the hand is a little closer, and we can increase the margin of this button so that this gets pushed up and even the button gets pushed up a little bit. So we can add a small margin of say 1 viewport height, but not on the left and right. So this is the top and bottom margin, and this is the left and right margin. And if we do this, it's a slight change, but the space below the buttons has slightly increased and this gets pushed up. And yay, we have received an achievement, makeup of markup, because we have done our makeup of the HTML, that is markup file. In this way, we have completed our application's styling. We have styled all the elements that are present in our React application. In the next parts, we will make the application responsive to desktop as well as the mobile users. We will add states and props to the React components and finally deploy the app. Subscribe to this channel for not missing out the future parts of this challenge. Do like the video. Likes help me be encouraged for making more such videos to you. If you dislike the video, press the dislike button if you want, but I will request you to comment why you dislike so that I can improve on those factors in the future videos. Share this video with your friends who will find this challenge useful. If you want to see a line-by-line explanation of data structures and algorithms, check out the playlist over here. If you want to learn Python built-in functions along with various Python features, tips, tricks, and real project examples, then check out the playlist over here. If you want to see a hands-on game development project, check out the playlist over here. And I will see you in the next video.